morning, everybody. It has been a minute since I have vlogged a day in my life, but here we are. Today is a pretty action-packed day in terms of my extracurricular activities, and I am super excited to bring you all along for the ride. I think today's video will give you a really cool glimpse at what my life is like as a finance creator here in New York. So in addition to heading to the office here in a minute and having a good productive day at work, this evening I was invited to 2 events. I'll definitely talk more about them later, but the first is actually hosted by H&R Block. I'm sure I'll learn more about it later, but from the invite, it looks like it is a celebration for the 70th year of tax day. I think there is going to be a comedian speaking and there's some panels, but most importantly, some great cocktails and networking at a really cool location. But as soon as I wrap up with H&R Block, I'll be heading to the Virgin Hotel here in Midtown, where I was invited to an intimate whiskey tasting for people in finance. I think the event itself is more focused on people in the family office space, which I personally am not. But naturally, I think there are always overlaps within the industry, and overall just excited to be invited to that and meet some fellow finance professionals here in the city. So in terms of how my day has been spent already, I wake up every morning and I do quite a bit of journaling. So my mom got me this for Christmas, the 5-minute journal. This is really great just for reflecting. It gives you some prompts to work through each morning. So of course, just takes about 5 minutes, and really grateful for this. And then lately I've transitioned from to-do lists on my phone to just a manual, or I should say an old-fashioned to-do list in an actual paper book. I bring this notebook with me to the office, to the coffee shops when I go and work, really everywhere. I've just kind of enjoyed having it. And then of course you saw me reading some of the newsletters that I subscribe to. Each morning I read Exec Sum from Liquidity, and then I also read The Morning Brew. And I found that this gives me a good grasp of not just more niche finance stories, but then also just general business news. And this is super helpful for me in just my creative process. If I'm reading through something and I find an article interesting, I'll click on it, dive a little bit deeper, because of course the newsletters are just very condensed summaries. And so then upon diving deeper, if I find a topic to be pretty interesting, I'll then draft it out and make a video. So that's just a little bit more of the behind the scenes of how the bread is baked. But now it is 8:44, so I need to get bundled up to go out in the cold and head to the office. All right, and here we are at the event. You always know it's going to be official when you get a name tag at the door. As soon as I walked in, the panel had actually already started, and the only seats available were in the front row. So that is where I sat. But fortunately, it was a super informational talk, learned a lot. And then after the panel, I took a trip to my buddy, the bartender, and got a festive cocktail. You can see here that H&R Block went all out with the green theme. Like I said before, the whole event, the purpose of it was to celebrate H&R Block's 70th year of being in business. So learned a lot about just their history and how they've been able to help clients over the years. This was a great picture I got. And then here is actually the comedian. So definitely a bit unique to have a comedian speak at an event like this, but I think she did a great job, especially considering that they made her talk about taxes, which isn't the easiest thing in the world. But yeah, overall met some great people. It was mostly creators and people who worked for H&R Block. So had a ton of fun there. And like I said, just learned a bunch about taxes and tax season, which, believe it or not, is coming up here soon. After the event wrapped up, I decided to get my exercise and walk to the next event at the Virgin Hotel. But before heading to the next event, I want to talk about the sponsor of today's video, Recruiter Base, which I think will be an absolute game changer for those of you recruiting for roles in investment banking. With more than 300,000 kids applying each year, these roles are more competitive now than ever before. On this channel, I have always talked about how integral networking was for me in my career and have given you all advice for how to navigate it. But lately, I've realized that relying solely on LinkedIn often falls short. Not only is it tough to find the right people to reach out to from the industry or product group that you're interested in, even if you do find them, most bakers don't check their LinkedIn DMs, especially messages from a random kid. But fortunately for you, that is where RecruiterBase comes in. RecruiterBase is a platform designed specifically for driven individuals looking to break into IB. RecruiterBase has a comprehensive database of over 16,000 bankers that you can filter through based on their firm, industry group, location, school, and even personal interests and languages. RecruiterBase helps you find the industry professionals that give you the best chance at building a true connection and are more likely to be in your corner, which is everything when recruiting for these roles. But the biggest advantage of RecruiterBase is that you'll have access to the verified work emails of each individual so that you can reach out to them directly without having to be stuck in LinkedIn no man's land. So if you're serious about landing your dream role in IB, RecruiterBase can be a vital tool to help you level up your networking game. The link will be down below in the description. I definitely recommend checking it out. And now let's head to our next event. All right, and after a few cold blocks, I finally made it to the hotel, and you can see here I had 4 whiskey glasses in front of me. This was definitely a unique event. After a few minutes of networking, they ushered us all down into tables, and yeah, it really was a whiskey tasting. They had a guide walk us through each of them, which was really interesting just to learn more about whiskey. But overall, the event was fantastic. Everyone at my table was super accomplished. Some people were investors at family offices. Some were kind of more of your traditional private equity and VC types. One person at the table was even a founder. She was in Y Combinator. So overall, an exceptional group of people. And yeah, finished the night off just feeling grateful, staring at the Empire State Building. All right, hello everybody. It is now, what time is it? It's about 10 o'clock. I literally just walked through the door. I hope you enjoyed my commentary over those clips. Initially, I was thinking of just instead doing, a more cinematic montage, but that just seemed a little bit tough. And I also wanted to talk a little bit more about the event. So I hope you enjoyed that, but that's gonna wrap up the video. This was by no means an average day in my life living here in New York. But as you can see, it is a day in my life and something that happens quite a bit, actually. For whatever reason, Wednesdays and Thursdays are popular days for events to occur here in New York City, kind of similar to like back in college when I was in a fraternity. My fraternity would have something, a sorority would have something, and let's say I was invited to both, and it was always a debate where you wanted to go. It feels a bit like that, juggling both on nights like this, but really an amazing night, met so many fantastic people. Always good to kind of, strengthen those networking skills, build that muscle memory. And yeah, you just really never know where those conversations, where those relationships will lead. And I'm just so grateful that this channel, this content gets me in rooms like those. And with that said, as always, if you have any questions at all, if you want to get in touch with me, reach out to me on LinkedIn. I'm happy to connect. Also, check out RecruiterBase. The link to that site will be down below in the description. And finally, make sure to like and subscribe and comment because it really does help the channel grow and I'd really appreciate it. And I'll see you in the next video. Peace.